Active voice and passive voice are two different ways to express the same action, and today we're diving into how to change sentences from active to passive in the simple past tense. Let's break it down step by step. First, let's recall what the simple past tense looks like in active voice. In an active sentence, the subject performs the action. For example, the chef cooked the meal. Here, the chef is the subject, cooked is the verb, and the meal is the object. Now, when we switch to passive voice, the focus shifts from the subject to the object. The object of the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. So, the meal was cooked by the chef. Notice how the meal is now the subject and it's receiving the action. To form the passive voice in the simple past tense, we use the verb to be in the past tense, which is was or were, depending on whether the subject is singular or plural. In our example, the meal is singular, so we use was. Then, we take the past participle of the main verb. The past participle of cook is cooked. So, the structure for passive voice in the simple past tense is subject plus was slash were plus past participle plus by plus agent. If we had multiple meals, we would say, the meals were cooked by the chef. Let's look at another example. Consider the active sentence, the teacher graded the tests. Here, the teacher is the subject, graded is the verb, and the tests is the object. When we convert this to passive voice, we start with the tests. So we say, the tests were graded by the teacher. Again, we use were because tests is plural and graded is the past participle of grade. Now, it's important to note that sometimes the agent, the doer of the action, can be omitted if it's not necessary to know who performed the action. For instance, you could simply say, the tests were graded. This keeps the focus on the action itself rather than who did it. Let's summarize the rules. 1. Identify the object of the active sentence. This becomes the subject in passive voice. 2. Use was or were based on whether the new subject is singular or plural. 3. Use the past participle form of the main verb. 4. Optionally, include the original subject with by if it's relevant. Remember, the passive voice is particularly useful when the doer is unknown, unimportant, or when you want to emphasize the action itself rather than the subject. So, to recap, changing from active to passive voice in the simple past tense involves a straightforward structure. Subject plus was slash were plus past participle. With practice, you'll find it becomes second nature to switch between these voices. Keep experimenting with different sentences, and soon you'll master the art of voice transformation.